All right. That is looking stable, so we're just gonna go ahead and start. Uh Welcome back to us doing D&D and Hindsight things. I am Vincent, doing D&D and Hindsight things.
Oh, sorry, I forgot other people in this group aren't psionic. I am the Krampus.
Of course, too.
I'm Hunter Green, and does anyone else hear those voices? Is it just me?
Yes.
Do you hear the voices too?
I too hear the voices, but they're just coming from this earpiece I have in my ear.
Oh God!
They're
Right,
coming from inside the earpiece?
Yes, that is how earpieces work. Also, I'm Vincent. So today we have Complete Psionics, the book of more psionics, and well, that's it. What the hell do you expect from a psionic book? The greater many shot feat? I mean, come on, that'd just be silly.
And right here, you can see Bob with the knife hands.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no way a psionics book could contain things that make ranged fighters even better.
Yeah. That'd be ridiculous. That would be ridiculous. Anyways, and yes, as you can see, on the cover we put the soul knife, which is probably the least psionic class in the first book, but sure, why not?
I may have at one point made a Warforged psionic character, or a Warforged psi-knife character, so I specifically did not have to buy weapons or armor. That character sucked, by the way.
Yes. As much as I sympathize with cutting out shopping, that's the soul knife just fucking sucks. That's
Yes,
the big
yes,
issue.
it does.
Yeah. So as a quick aside, we're deep into the era where swift and immediate actions are just ruled straight at the front of every book. Which is pretty much necessity to how the game is A, played, and B, just making new shit in general. Having like swift and immediate actions available for the designers is really helpful. Yeah. Also, as you can discern by the title, this is a complete book like the other complete books, so it's arranged pretty much the same as the first four, starting with new base classes. Starting with Ardent. A new full manifester class that uses wisdom as its manifesting stat can select any power you have the ability to manifest when you gain new levels, which you don't select from the Ardent list because the Ardent list doesn't exist. So Ardents get the class features mantles, and more mantles, which are further ahead in the book, so we'll jump ahead for a minute to have this make any sense. So mantles are the psionic version of domains with one big difference. You don't automatically know the powers listed. This means that the Ardent effectively builds their powers list from their mantle choices. Mantles offer a large variety of effects, but not quite as much as the Scion Wilder list, very much akin to the differences between like the Sorcerer Wizard list and the Cleric list, with the same exception of the Cleric list or the Life Mantle here is where Psionic Healing mainly comes from. And is the main way of gaining the new healing powers that are in this book. The Ardent has no restrictions on mantle choices, including the alignment ones, and is capable of taking both the good and evil or the law and chaos mantles at the same time, but manifesting powers from aligned mantle is considered an aligned action technically, so it would push your alignment or something, no one really cares. What does make your life harder when playing in this class, slightly harder, is two of these mantles are considered your primary and the rest are considered secondary. You are allowed to have no more powers on a secondary mantle than you have on either from either of your primary ones. You can also swap your primary mantles at levels 8 and 15, which is not listed in the class table. So to more explain, let's say you took your first two mantles were like life and knowledge. If you have 2 powers in life and 1 power in knowledge, then the next mantle you pick, you couldn't get more than 1 power from it. Or you couldn't select more than 1 power from it until you select another power from knowledge, because you only have 1 in knowledge. And that's pretty much the entire class explanation. As far as Ardent itself, it's a naturally solid psionic class with full manifesting and both a broad and narrow access to powers at the same time. As well, you get a custom tailored list of powers you can choose from. All the mantles contain at least some junk, and you may be better off getting certain powers with just taking the expanded knowledge feat rather than wasting an entire mantle choice on it for a single power. Though sometimes that can be made up for by like all the mantles have base granted abilities, which are somewhat some are unique, some are more or less the equivalent of a feat. Some of them are literally a feat. But yeah, none of them are bad, but none of them are terribly amazing either. Prestige classing can also be an issue with this class, as once you stop vesting Ardent, you stop gaining mantles, so your spell list stops growing in size. Though you do get 4 of your 6 mantles by level 5, so that's less of an issue than it sounds like. Even with these complications, a full manifesting class is strong, and Ardent has access to some legitimately good powers, as well as a medium attack bonus, better hit die than Scion, as well as full armor and shield proficiency compared to the Scion's 0 armor and shield proficiency. It is literally it is very much in the same slot as Clerk, quite frankly. That is pretty much how it's designed. Oh yeah, and one final note is how this class interacts with the Overchannel feat that lets you increase your Manifestor level above cap when manifesting powers. So rules as written, this lets the Ardent select powers that are actually a higher level than than they would normally be allowed to select if you were any other class where it does it by level. So, for example, you could take a level 3 power at level 4 because you could overchannel and you could actually pay the cost to manifest that power. Or at level 7, you could grab a level 11 power, which would normally be level 9 at earliest for a Scion. This isn't that amazing a trick, but it is kind of neat. This also lets you multi-class dip at a bit less of a cost if you take the Practice Manifestor feat that's later in this book, because that just adds up to 4 levels to your Manifestor level. So if you took 4 levels off in this class, you could go right back and start taking things at your something closer to what your actual character level would be if you just stayed in Ardent. Yeah, this is easily one of the most straightforward classes in any of the books. So it's just simple, straightforward, and good. Let's see. Now to go to the complete opposite end of this, Divine Mind, a paladin / ranger / bard style mess of a class based around mantles and auras, and we'll start with the auras before getting into the rest. So, auras are scaling party buffs that start with a mighty 5-foot area of effect, though you do affect yourself at least, and eventually scale to something large enough to actually be useful. You have 3 base auras to choose from and can switch them as a full round action initially, which slowly becomes more reasonable as you go up in levels. You can also have 2 active at level 10 and technically 3 at 20 as a capstone, but whatever. The base 3 auras you get are morale bonus to attack and damage that scales the same as Inspire Courage, so it starts at a +1, then you get +1 at level 5, etc., etc. And same bonus, but for AC, and a +2 initiative, spot, and listen that scale up 1 at level 5, etc., etc. as well. You also get auras specific to the mantles you select, all of which are worse than those 3 basic auras because they are more situational and hard to change into. Now to talk about the mantles and manifesting, because this gets even stupider. So, Divine Mind manifests using Wisdom. It also gets Divine Grace because, fuck you, I guess. Here's a Charisma thing as well. With a Manifestor level, class level -4, which means you can kind of cheat around and have full Manifestor. But whatever. So they use mantles in the same way as Ardents, except they don't have to worry about a primary one, but their choice is limited by the deity they worship akin to a clerk's domain. Hence why this list of mantles by deity. So, this class is rough to play, but probably more functional than not, at least after you have enough levels on you to be a few generic buffs, on you to be a few generic buffs with occasional power for utility or maybe burst damage, as with Practice Manifestor, the Divine Mind is a full level Manifestor, though its power points are far more limited, and the kind of mad nature of the class is probably not going to leave you with a large amount of power points to sustain constant manifesting. Mantles are another rough spot as well, as your choice of deity greatly limits the powers you have access to, complicated by the fact that Martial dabbles in casting, has a more limited list of good powers, as anything that requires a save is going to generally be subpar. On the bright side, the tap mantle feat that I put here has no listed limitation on what mantle you can choose for it, so it is a way of kind of dancing around the restrictions you would otherwise have for a god. You can, yeah, it's a good workaround to get basically probably freedom or conflict, because unless you're choosing one of the deities that have one of those two mantles, you're probably going to want to pick that up as a martial character. Yeah, giving you access basically to Hustle and Psionic Lion's Charge. We'll go over mantles later, but on the bright side, they do have a D10 hit die, full martial weapon proficiencies, armor proficiencies, and shield proficiencies. And why the fuck don't they have a good attack bonus?
Because they hate good attack bonuses.
Fucking apparently, there is no good attack bonus on a psionic class, and this would be the one where I would say, yeah, that's fine. Easily, it would be fine. That even seems what they were going for on this class. They even give it a D10 hit die. Why does it not have a good attack bonus?
Incarnate says hi.
Yeah. Also, I put a Dawn Mantle and extra ore here just because, so I don't, to limit the amount of stuff I have to talk about, quite frankly, in the feat section, because the feat section is rather large. But yeah, it's basically the same. These apply to Ardent too. You can basically tap Mantle to initially gain access to a new Psionic Mantle. Note that you have to have access to Psionic Mantles to get this feat in the first place, but it's a way of expanding the amount of Mantles you know. It is also another workaround for multi-classing as Ardent, kind of, if you need more spell lists, which you probably don't, but let's just say you do. But yeah, and then Dawn Mantle actually gives you the Mantle proper power, and extra aura is specific for this class for its auras. You can read the auras over here. They are actively worse than just, like, attack. I think the best one was, like, energy here, which you deal extra energy damage, which is fine, except this is just dealing extra typeless damage, which generally ends up being better than extra energy damage, especially since it doesn't get to choose Sonic. But let's see. And finally, Lurk, the other Psychic Rogue. Like Psychic Rogue, they are in base Manifester, though Lurk is slightly more Psychic, but gets crappier sneak attack. Basically, they cap out at 46 sneak attack as opposed to 76, and you need to have your Psionic Focus to use the Lurk sneak attack, which is not a big deal, honestly. Lurk also gets 2 less skill points a level and a smaller list of class skills, though this still works out to plenty of skill points in selection for most purposes, unless you're doing some strange tangential concept of one sort or another. Where Lurk departs is the other class abilities, starting with the main one, which is Lurk Augment. Augments are swift actions usable a number of times per day, equal to your int bonus plus your class level, so a decent amount of times per day, honestly. Probably most combats in a day after a while. They modify your next attack with effects that are locked behind levels and are augmentable power points, which is still limited by the Psionic golden rule of no, you can't spend any more power points than your actual class levels on the thing. So in order, what they get is an extra sneak attack die plus 1 extra sneak attack die per 2 power points they spend. Will save, or the target loses its Psionic Focus, which you can modify the DC, I guess, if you really want to do that. Let's see. 2 extra flat damage plus 1 per point. Fort save or stun. Modify the DC again. Ignore concealment. 2 points of int or wisdom damage, increased by another 1 per 2 points spent. Deny dex to AC. Sneak attack undead. Ghost touch. Still power points equal to half the damage you deal, which will never happen because that would involve your DM running something psionic. Your attack is good or evil aligned. Sneak attack constructs. D6 -4 levels plus 1 extra negative level per 4 points. Extra 2d6 damage against good or evil, increased by an entire die per point you spend. Will save or they can't cast, manifest, use spells or psi powers for a round you can augment the DC. Let's see, and still points equal to full damage dealt eventually on the still, which you'll still never do. It should be noted, I don't think I put this. Yeah, I didn't put this in my notes. I believe at a certain level, at 10 they can use 2 augments at once. This becomes important when you actually start doing things like, I can sneak attack an undead and I can add more sneak attack dice as well at the same time. Stuff like that. All of the DCs are base 10 plus stat. In other words, they suck balls, so you really do need to augment them to actually have a decent DC. That's the only other catch there. Why this has a limited number of uses, even though it is a high limited number of uses, beyond me. You could have just kept it as is for the most part, and it would be fine. Especially after a while, you can only use this once around anyways. It's a swift action. Let's see. Other parts of this class, though, real quick, they add into their initiative. They get evasion fairly late and slippery mind even later, but they get them. They have full martial weapon proficiency as well as light armor and shield proficiency, so they actually have better proficiencies than a rogue as well. So in fights where sneak attack is doable constantly with a full round of attacking, Psychic Rogue will do more damage. But in all other cases, Lurk will probably be better, especially if you are fighting things that are normally immune to sneak attack, as Lurk just has options that most other roguelike classes just don't. As far as power selection is concerned, they have it's a very similar list to Psychic Rogue. We'll go over it later. And it's a bigger list thanks to it being in this book. So by virtue, it has pretty much all the psionic powers to choose from. Also, I shoved the Lurk feats here, which, in case you don't have enough Lurk augments, here's 3 more a day for a feat. Excuse me. This one lets you actually use your augments at range. Initially, you can only use them on melee attacks. And let's see, Lurk Master, you're treated as 2 levels higher for determining what abilities you can select for Lurk Augment, which is not really useful, but I guess it's there for short, excuse me, short campaigns.
Yeah, if you wanted to spend a feat, just be able to get access to some stuff earlier.
Yeah, if you're doing a one-shot with Undead and it happens to be like level 6, for example, you can get Sneak Attack Undead. Granted, you can only do a Sneak Attack Undead and you couldn't do an extra thing, so you could do like 1d6. You could do 1d6 extra damage to that Undead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't have double augment yet.
Yeah. No. Alright, on to the prestige classes. They have a very weird font on the... Pretty sure that's not standard, but oh well.
For what?
Oh, it's just this is a bit different than it's been. I think they... Yeah. It only stands out to me because I stare at these books way too much.
Fair.
Right, so prestige classes, starting with Anarchic Initiate, or what if Wild Mage but Psionic and nowhere near as fun. So, full manifesting class, you get the ability to place an extreme chance game on any power you manifest with Wild Surge or over channel. Literally, here's a 25% chance of it doing stone cold nothing. Another 25% chance of it being minus 50%, but the payoff is plus 50% and double. They also get, let's see, once per day free action, 20% mischance for a decent duration. They get 2 full steps of Wild Surge, which, as a reminder, lets you increase your Manifestor level for completely free by 1 rank at the cost of having a 5% chance per rank you use to daze yourself and lose power points equal to your Manifestor level. Let's see. +2, they also get +2 in saves versus compulsion and lawful stuff. Chaotic Breach Minor, a class level times per day piece of limbo that you can summon. It takes a d4 rounds to arrive, and other casters and /manifestors in a 20-foot radius area make caster manifestor level checks in order to not be affected by wild magic table. They get postpone enervation feat for free, which is legitimately good. And Chaotic Breach Complete, a once per day AoE that takes a d4 turns to arrive and is a portal between where you summon it and Limbo, or alternatively, you can target a creature with it, and if they fail a will save, instead of the other effect, they go straight to Limbo. If they pass the save, it still does the d4 round delayed portal effect thing. So, you get more full manifesting progression, and you don't actually have to use the powers they give you, which is good because most of them are bad. The best thing here is postpone innervation, which notably is just a feat you can take anyways. It is actually a fairly good feat if you are for some reason running a wilder, I guess, because it does exactly what it says on the tin. It lets you postpone the effects of innervation for up to 3 rounds, which means you can possibly push it to the end of combat, or at the very least, you'll know when it's coming and can actually set up for it. Other wilder feat that I decided to throw in here was Innervation Endurance, which lessens the effect of Innervation in the sense that you only lose half your power points, and that's not the effect I cared about, honestly. Ebon Saint. a rogue manifester class that takes information via violence. So Dire Strike is a center feature of this class and requires a round of study followed by an attack that, if successful, gives you plus class level to hit the target and plus half your class level as a dodge bonus to AC against that target. They also get augments for their Dire Strike, akin to Lurk augments, which include reading their thoughts with a will save that negates it, getting the answer to one question if the victim knows the answer, there's no save on that one, learn to take the form of whatever you hit and change back as a full action. You can do this for the entire day. A will save or cloud mind if you do non-lethal damage, which furthermore, if you get cloud mind is you're basically invisible to them. Furthermore, if you get outside of their actual line of sight, they forget that you ever did anything to them. You have a round to get out of their line of sight, and they forget you did anything to them. Let's see, you can use 2 of these abilities at once at 3rd level, and you can also get a, plus class level 2. You also get plus class level to hide and move silently, and another sneak attack die. So this is actually an interesting class for espionage and intrigue and doesn't fall off too hard in other situations. Even in a dungeon crawl, the information gathering and shapeshifting powers could come in handy with some creativity. I do legitimately like where they went with this one. Yeah, just the ability to basically sneak up on something, study it for a round, whack it on the head, and learn how to take its form and also make it forget that you whacked it on the head and then just walk off. It is quite amusing. Topic Adept. The summoning except not summoning class based around Astral Construct, which has been updated a bit in this book, so we're going to take a side tack to talk about it for a second. So the main change to Astral Construct in this book is you can only actually have one at a time. So you cannot just spam Astral Construct as you can with the summon spells. The other thing about it is there's this talk of, say more specific to the class, but in general is the Eptopic form feat here, which is every time you take this feat, you choose an Eptopic form. It is a template that's just added on top of your Astral Construct. They're nothing but good things. I actually threw all of them over here, but it is basically like the Agile Loper here is a pointless bonus to initiative and plus 20 foot increase to its base land speed. The Astral Construct, when you summon it, goes on your turn, so the only way for this to apply is if a new combat started after you summoned it. It only lasts a round per level.
Yeah.
But the bonus to lands, or the bonus to base speed is legitimately good. There's also, I believe, the Aerial, which just has a flying, can fly by default. None of these come at a real cost, so if you have the feat, it's not a bad extra bonus, but it's not also anything too special. You won't miss not having it, but it's nice if you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to this class. It loses a manifester level for an extra, 2d6 HP on every construct they summon. 2 more instances of the Eptopic form feat. Yeah, every instance, or every time you take the feat, you choose one form. You can use that
add
form
it on.
Yeah. You only can do one form at a time, so it's just a different option.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Let's see. They also get standard action Astral Construct casts that they can do a class level number of times per day. And a capstone of double creation, which lets you once per day have 2 Astral Constructs instead of 1. So this class is good relatively, but not the most needed thing if you want to Astral Construct. They do it better than normal, but normal is already fairly good. They don't offer much except for the capstone and a couple more options from a feat that you could honestly do without, but it's fine to have too, depending on how much you really want to focus on the Astral Construct. It should be noted that a lot of the movement options that they offer is also something that you can choose as menu options for Astral Construct, so you're not exactly locked out of having a flying Astral Construct if you don't choose Alabaster Aerial or something.
It frees you up to take something else, but it's not remotely required.
Yeah. Alright. Flare spawns Psychic. The Mind Flayer theme class, you lose 4 manifesting levels and get so you get the Illithid Blast feat, which is part of the Illithid Heritage feats. We'll kind of go over those a bit more in detail later, but this one's important for this class. So normally it's a once per day standard action, 15-foot cone. Whatever fails the save is stunned for D4 rounds. Scales with hit dice and charisma, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So this class scales that all the way up to 5 times per day. The stun goes to 3d6 rounds, or 3d4 rounds, and the effect becomes a 60-foot cone. 3d4 rounds of stun is it might as well be fucking dead.
I mean, it's an excessive amount of stun.
Yeah. You also get 3 other Illithid heritage feats as bonus feats, and that's about it. So Illithid heritage feats are not bad as a whole, but the real feature here really is making the blast into a beast of a CC option, which the only catch here is the ability is charisma based, and the only charisma manifester is wilder, which is kind of meh as a class, but the cone itself is also not amazing until you hit 6th level in this class, or 11 total minimum, really, where it becomes a 30-foot cone that does 2d4 or a 2d4 round stun. And with that said, this is still strangely fine class, as I can't really think of a CC power that is as blatant an AoE or save or lose effect as this one, and you can still do things if all the targets are immune to stun, because you have manifesting. Also, all targets being immune. Things being immune to stun is not that common. Outsiders are not immune to stun. You're basically looking at, like, I think undead and constructs, basically the general 2 things that are immune to a lot of things.
Might be as well, but
huh?
Oozes might be as well, but it's a short list.
It is a short list. I'm not sure, and God does not matter for oozes. Let's see. Illumin Soul, a soul knife prestige class themed around channeling positive energy. It gets you, let's see, the ability for your Psychic Strike to damage undead, even if they're mindless. Psychic Strike is it's a move action to channel into your blade. You basically get extra damage die on the next thing, normally on the next living non-mindless thing you hit. Let's see. They also scale their blade enhancement bonus stuff and add Ghost Judge to the property a list of properties they can put on their Psychic Blade. They get an extra couple of Psychic Strike dice. Notably, they actually get Psychic Strike dice faster than the actual Soul Knife does. They have a 60-foot standard action range touch attack that does 2d6 per class level to undead that is usable a class level number of times per day. The ability to expend their psionic focus as a standard action to gain 1 minute of immunity to death effects, energy drain, and negative energy. Free undead Bane on your Mind Blade. Bane is not normally a choice for Mind Blades, notably, at all. A once-a-day heal that triggers when you drop to 0 or lower, giving you back 5d8 plus 5 HP that can save you from death if it gets you above the negative 10. And a capstone that lets you spend a standard action and your psionic focus to deal 2d6 times class level. By that I mean it does 10d6 damage to undead within 30 feet with a will save for half. It's a charisma-based DC. Well, Soul Knife is just a bad...
Clearly, it's 2 per level because they intend for your DM to be able to increase the level of this prestige class higher than the printed level. Because as we all know, all prestige classes are meant to be created by your DM.
So, in a less tongue-in-cheek note, you can take more than 5 levels in this class after you become an epic level character. If I've already made you cringe, good. So anyways. Well, Soul Knife is just a bad...
Some things are better left unsaid.
Yeah, I know. Okay, Soul Knife is just a bad class. This will do good in an undead focus campaign. An undead campaign, this is just good. And also, if you're not doing an campaign, this will be just as good as Soul Knife, if not actually probably better than Soul Knife, especially in a more general campaign where you may occasionally run into undead. One of the 2 big issues this class has is it's only a 5-level class, and you have to go back to being a Mind Blade. I'm mixing up the name of their weapon and their whatever. Yeah, but you have to go back to the crappy class to continue scaling your weapon. So the other big issue this class has is the next class in this book exists right after it. So Soul Blade, the ranged Soul Knife prestige class that goes for shooting things. So it gets Mind Arrows, a free action range attack that acts as if it is being shot from a composite longbow for all purposes except visual, dealing a D8 plus your wisdom damage instead of a dex. Note I put Zen Archery over here, so if you want to attack with wisdom, you can do that too. It's a ×3 crit because it's a composite longbow as well. And letting you use this also lets you use all the ranged weapon feats, including weapon focus and such and such. It can also deliver psychic strikes, though psychic strikes stop scaling, and in fairness, you don't care. And has all the scaling you had for your Mind Blade, from Soul Knife. Okay, I actually put it correctly there. For the flat bonus, but not for the special abilities. It has its own special abilities over here, which the Mind Arrow, so the Mind Arrow has its own table, and for some unfathomable and amazing reason, it has Bane as well as Axiomatic and Anarchic on that table.
Bane.
Yeah. You also get 5 free range attack feats. The ability.
Why?
Oh, I'm not done yet. The ability to shoot immediately without provoking, and the ability as a full round action to expend your psionic focus to make a single range attack at a target in range, ignoring everything, including obstacles. That isn't magic. Concealment, cover, and their armor, which is more cute than anything. So yeah, this class is Soul Knife, but actually good at doing its job and lets you use Wisdom entirely as your combat stat.
Soul Knife, and then right next to it, the cooler Soul Knife.
Yes, exactly. The reason Bane and the other two are such a big deal on this list, by the way, is that you can change out what enhancements you have by concentrating for 8 hours. Letting you adjust your Bane and the alignment abilities to match whatever you're about to fight if you have the prep time, as well as some other good options like collision. And I don't know why the fuck it has returning on this list, actually. That's the one that completely confuses me. Returning literally does nothing, and this can only go on the Mind Arrow.
I can't help you there.
Why?
I mean, it has Bane, I don't care. But that's my actual answer.
That, but why is...
I don't know.
Did no one proofread this?
It's a range thing.
That's technically correct. It is a ranged thing. Okay, they did. So what they probably did was look at everything on the ranged special abilities that were in the DM's guide and Expanding Psionic's handbook, and just throw it on this table, not realizing returning does stone cold nothing for this class. Okay, so moving on. Storm Disciple, a chaotic mantle using class that loses 2 levels of manifesting for, let's see, it gets an aura that adds 1 electricity damage to each attack you do, and eventually all allies within 15 feet. Eventual 15 electricity resistance, the ability to travel unimpeded through storms, and thundering on your weapons, which is the crit sonic, do sonic damage on a crit that starts at D8, and it's 2D8 if it's a ×3 weapon, etc. And that's it. So this is a this is a simple, straightforward, and just play bad class. So the best thing I can say here is there's a full base attack bonus, which...
Okay, what are you talking about? A 15-foot aura of +1 electric damage is busted. That's clearly worth a 5-level prestige class.
I had to reread this several times to make sure I wasn't missing anything on that aura. It's like, this cannot be this simple, stupid, and worthless. It's like, no, it actually is. What? I just don't get it.
Like, if the aura increased in power and size as you leveled up?
Yeah, fine.
Maybe?
If it went to like 5 flat electric, okay, I could at least kind of see that. It's still going to be kind of worthless at higher levels, but it at least do something worthwhile. But it's like, yeah, no, it doesn't even do that.
Yeah, 15-foot aura +1 electric damage that a lot of high-level things are just going to ignore. 15 electricity resistance?
Yay. I mean...
And an ability you wouldn't normally put on your weapon.
Yeah. An ability you would never put on your weapon is not worth the money. Alright. Zareth Cenobite, a monk class that learns manifesting, which is thankfully wisdom-based. Did decide to go for charisma on that one. So it gets... powers from the Psychic Warrior list, scaling monk unarmed damage, AC, and speed. A once per day free move action that eventually becomes a once per day standard action that eventually becomes a once per day full round action. An an immediate action that you can eventually use twice per day to reroll. That's a once per day standard action to disappear for wisdom modifier rounds, and eventually twice per day +2 insight bonus on a roll applied after you make the roll. A once per day swift action that forces something you hit to make a will save or be shoved forward 10 rounds in time. A once per day plus class level plus monk, a once per day ability that adds your class, this class's level and your monk level to a d20 roll as an immediate action, and a capstone once per day standard action that makes you immune to absolutely everything until the end of your next turn. So this class is great if you get into one combat a day, and is also generally better than taking levels in Monk, honestly. You could eventually get Psionic Lion's Charge at 10, character level 10. Letting you pounce as a Monk, which would be better if you actually kept scaling Flurry of Blows. You don't, but for once, I think this class actually has enough to make up for not doing that. Judged on the very relative curve of Monk prestige classes, this isn't actually bad.
Yeah, it's just a giant pile of once per day effects, which is, as you said, great if you do one combat.
Yeah. There are enough of them that you might be, that's even if you're spraying them out through several combats, it's not terrible. Like, it is also legitimately amusing at level 10 to just take 2 full round attacks in the first round of combat. Which, granted, you can do once, but yeah. Or once a day, so.
Yeah.
Alright. On to feats. Okay, so on defeats we're talking about. Let's see, enhanced beneficence up here. So you know that psychic aura that starts at like 5 feet. It adds 5 feet to it, so you can at least start to make it affect someone other than yourself or earlier level. Let's see. Here's another +1 AAC as long as you're focused and have a shield. So yes, I'll throw this on the +1 AC feat pile. Let's see. When you take this feat, choose 3 skills. It's basically +2 competence bonus on them. Not a terrible way of finding it. Yeah. Practice Manifester, which I keep talking about, but is like, yeah, literally you add 4 levels to a manifesting class up to your hit dice. Basically lets you make up for lost ground, which is extra useful as a manifester because their powers actually stay useful for, or a lot of powers will stay useful for the entirety of your time in that class, or your time as a character, so long as you can as your manifestor level keeps going up, basically. So it lets you kind of multi-class outside of it. Is especially good for Arden because, as said, they can actually come back into their class and just start taking stuff from their from the highest manifestor level. Privileged energy, choose a type of energy. Whenever you manifest the power of that energy, it's just extra damage per die, which it's not bad if you're trying to make a blaster. Psionic Mastery. Straight up can take a 10 on manifester checks. This becomes really good when you're dealing with spell resistance, basically. Just same reason taking a 10 on those checks is good for spellcasters as well. Let's see. Alright, now getting into the Soul Knife stuff. Let's see, Mind Cleave. Whenever you kill something, you can charge your Psionic Blade. Mind Empowerment here. Or no, wait, no, this one was portion of the liver. Used to fellow foes if you... Yeah. Let's see. If you deal a killing blow with your Mind Blade, you capture a greater portion of the energy. 3 rounds or until you make a successful... yeah. Additional D8 damage when you do a psychic... Basically stuff to enhance the mind... to enhance your Psychic Strike, with the notable problem of Psychic Strike still sucks.
There's the downside of the day 1 errata that they released for it, where you have to scream Mind Strike every time you hit someone.
Mind Strike! Dunk.
Yeah, and focused. Let's see. Oh yes, expend your focus to deal... you expend your focus to deal full extra die of damage with your Psychic Strike.
Oh.
Let's see. Mind Strike Swift. You can charge it as a swift action. Once per day.
Why?
I don't know. It was a swift action, it'd be fucking fine.
Spend a feat so you can do this once per day as a swift action? Fuck you.
This line of feats, which is not good, but actually are kind of interesting, where you can turn your Mind Blade into various exotic weapons. Notably, you're proficient with the weapon when you turn it into it, so they don't make you waste an extra feat on it.
I was about to ask.
Yeah, they threw in proficiency, thankfully, so there's at least that.
I don't know. They have a feat there where you're only allowed to do the effect once per day like that. Can't help but think maybe they wouldn't do that.
They were really trying with Soul Knife here. They were really trying.
Really trying my patience.
Okay. Very specific mental image comes to mind with the last one, the two-bladed Mind Blade. It's a very specific image of like a guy summoning his blade, and then you're getting this like incredibly like shocked look on his face, raising his other hand very slowly, staring at it for like 30 seconds, and then another Mind Blade appears. And he's just like, oh.
No, it's not two separate Mind Blades.
Yeah, this is a double-bladed.
It is a double-bladed weapon.
Yeah.
It is two swords together.
Yeah.
Well, that takes all the fun out of it.
Yeah, a Soul Knife actually can just make two Mind Blades. They can just do that. That is normal.
They can just dual wield. This is specifically Darth Mauling it. As said.
Also, dire flails on this list if you want to be actually silly.
Like, the real issue of these ones is none of these weapons are good.
Yeah, that's the problem.
My favorite thought on the idea of him not being proficient with it is making a nunchuck, going, oh, and then smacking themselves in the face with it.
Yeah, I don't know what...
Of these options, the two-bladed Mind Blade is probably the best. And that's just your offhand is a D8 as opposed to like a D6, the best you get otherwise. And really, who gives a shit? It's not worth the feat.
No, you've spent a feat to add +1 damage on each of your attacks. Who cares?
Each of your attacks.
Yeah. Technically, you make two short swords if you do dual Mind Blades normally. So
okay, well, one more. Hey,
yeah.
You know how else you get +1 damage?
Several
do a prestige class.
Yeah. So what you do is you go into this prestige class called Soul Bow. Then once you're done with this, you go into this other prestige class called Illumined Soul, because you don't actually have to go back to Mind Blade. That will take you 15 or Soul Knife. You can't take 15 levels that way.
Yep.
Okay. The racial feats, which didn't exist as of when they made expanded. Or the idea of racial feats didn't exist when they made expanded Psionics handbook, so it's nice to actually have them added in. Let's see. With that said, Droma Ray is more uses of the energy ray that you. Who cares? Just fucking learn energy ray. Same with Dromite Barrier, Durgar Expand. It's a lot of the like psi-like abilities is basically here.
These are all you can use it 3 times as opposed to 1.
Yeah. Where we get more interesting is the Ellen ones, where for resilience, which is normally you prevent 2 points of damage you take as an immediate action per power point you spend, this ups it to 4. And yeah, upping the racial bonus for to a save as an immediate action to +6 as opposed to +4. No, those are immediate action and spend your psionic focus, but they're usable any number of times per day, I believe. Oh no, wait, no, they don't even spend your psionic focus. They're just immediate actions, usable as many times as you can pay for it. Also, Retainment, which is almost good because once per day, immediate action, spend 3 power points to maintain focus. Let's see. Stomp is not good. Stomp enhances Stomp, gives you more Stomp. Stomp is still not good. Various spell-like plane whiffs for the Githyanki and Githzeri, notably letting you actually use some of the psi-like abilities as different psi-like abilities. Which is at least interesting. Let's see. Mated Fury, let them use Outburst more than once per day. Outburst was their pseudo-rage thing. As a slight correction, if anyone actually saw Expanded Psionics, I believe I said this was a standard action. This is before. It is not. It's actually a free action because it's an extraordinary ability, and extraordinary abilities, unless listed otherwise, are free actions. So it is slightly better than I said when we originally went over the class. It's still not good. The class is still not good. It was also like a +2 strength. Who the fuck cares? Extra uses the Zeph Burst ability, which is okay, but that is a supernatural ability. So that was the movement one. That one is a supernatural ability, so that does still take a standard action to activate. So you can move really fast for like a round, I guess. Etc. Let's see. Swift action, spend one of your uses of burst to gain an extra attack for a round, which is not terrible if you're actually gaining extra uses of the burst. It's still not good, but it's better than their natural ability. And various strike rate enhancing ones. Huh?
+1 AC.
Yep. Again, +1 AC. Only claws here you have to be a Thrycreen, so which isn't even a bad clause. Thrycreen isn't a bad race. Extra uses a poison bite, which I forget they have. All right. Let's see the host line of feats, where you get possessed by something and gives you psionic abilities or psi-like abilities. Just various once per day psi-like abilities, usually this or that type of thing. Your choice of manifest level will have to hit dice. Your choice of a stat for them, etc. Okay, so the Illithid Heritage feats. So this works like other heritage feats that I think we've encountered. I don't remember, but the idea is you take the base heritage feat, and then that's basically the prerequisite for pretty much everything else here. Also, a lot of the abilities just straight up scale on the number of Illithid heritage feats you actually have. So this one, the base is you gain Intimidate as a class skill. In addition to that, you gain a bonus on saving throws against spells, spell-likes, power-likes, etc. Equal to 1/2 your Illithid feats you have, including this one, which not a bad bonus, honestly, but it does round down, so you need 4 feats for it to become a +2. With a minimum of 1. So it needs, until you have 4 feats, it's only a +1. It's a good bonus, but it's only a base +1. Blast, which we already went over, which is okay, but once per day, unless you're specifically that class, that makes it good. +1 DC for compulsion powers, good, sure, why not? And +1 level. Most notable one here, though, is Illithid Grapple, because every time you take this feat, you gain a tentacle. It is a natural tentacle attack. It also has it has the improved grab special ability, so whenever it hits, it can grapple as a free action. You can take this feat up to 4 times. Once you've taken it 4 times, your face looks like an Illithid's face, so you look like a Mind Flayer, kind of. Notably, if you've taken it 4 times, you can also take Extraction, so you can start eating brains if you want to.
This is brains.
Yep.
I manifest your brains.
Yep. Let's see. Also, the heritage feats, or the legacy feats, which lets you have some Illithid powers. And finally, of course, Illithid skin, you gain +1 natural armor. That you can take up to 3 times. You could really focus on these feats if you want to for some reason, but hey. Even if you're not actually doing anything psionic, you could just focus on these and by just taking, like, Illithid skin, Illithid grapple, possibly extraction if you really care.
You do have to have 1 power point to get the heritage feat, but yeah.
Yeah. But races. There are various races that just come with that. Everything else you can be an Ellen. Metapsionic feats. Rather, more metapsionic feats. Like, knockdown power here. That's exactly what it says on the tin. It's only an extra 2 power points, so yeah. Let's see. Link power. Must spend your psionic. But yeah, these will work exactly like the powers. Okay, you get your second feat next round at no action cost. Link power. Okay, so yeah. Basically pay for 2 feats at once, or pay for 2 powers at once, but slowly manifest both of them. Various things like that. Yeah, nothing that terribly stood out from what I remember on this one, but at least interesting other options. In general, mana psionic feats are not the most beneficial thing because they all kind of step on each other's toes, so you're only really looking for the better ones. Oh yeah, I forgot meta power was in here. Yeah, cost of modifying the power. Yeah, okay. One power you know is automatically modified by a mana psionic feat. Cost modify. Yeah, cost to when you manifest the power. Yeah, so it basically lets you apply a meta psionic feat permanently to a power you know at a reduced cost of -2. Which means you can also apply more than one meta psionic feat to that power if you really want to. Can take this multiple times, choose a power or other one you have. Yeah, and you can take it multiple times as well. Find all of the meta psionic feats that cost 2 and apply them all to the same thing. Let's see. Alright, so on to powers themselves. Starting with, we'll actually look over the list real fast, but it again, it's very much close to everything that the Psychic Rogue had, so it is more utility than in combat on it, honestly, but they do have good utility spells. Like here's Grace Psionic, for example. Burst, which is not a terrible early level movement spell. They have Skate, which has some decent amount of utility to it. Yeah. Again, as they move up, they basically get our stuff. Including Psionic Knock in order to make the rogue cry. Levitate as well. And yeah. Evade Burst. Which means more when you don't have evasion as a class skill. I think they will by third level powers. Speak with Dead Psionic, which is a nice tangential thing, actually. Freedom Movement Psionic, which is never bad. Dimension Door Psionic, which we'll go over in a bit because they actually modified it, but is better than it was and was already good. Yeah, True Scene. And Nobly, since they actually get level 6 powers, they get stuff that Psychic Rogue can't get, albeit at a fairly high level, including Temporal Acceleration. Those times when you just need to get the fuck out. Also going over some of the better mantles. Let's see. Communication here, which is pure utility stuff on here. Also less psionically focused diplomacy bonus, but yeah, not really a big deal there. Charm Psionic is kind of cute. A lot of the messaging stuff, Suggestion Psionic, Psionic Tongues, just basically utility devours. Conflict is like one of the Divine Mind, or if you're just going more martial with the Ardent, because why not? It has the same base attack bonus as a Divine Mind. But yeah, the base granted ability is weapon focus, and notably it has Psionic Lion's Charge, and it doesn't really matter what powers it has beyond that, quite frankly, but Dimension Slide's also good. Sure, doesn't teleport, basically. And Spirit of War, which we'll go over in a minute, too. Creation is the mantle that actually has Astral Construct. It also comes with free Eptalchic Form feat. So that's actually kind of nice for the Ardent in general. The bigger issue being is, do you want the creation stuff or fabricate stuff? Because they're here if you want them, but if you don't, that's really all you're taking this mantle for. So are you better off just taking like expanded knowledge at level 3 and grabbing Astral Construct is an open question. Though as a secondary mantle, it might well be a solid choice because all you're going to grab is Astral Construct. Elements Mantle, which is more on the druidy side of things, not has stuff that we've actually seen in previous books. I believe Blackstone Hammer was in Races of Stone, for example. Most notably, this actually has Tornado Blast on it for some reason, which just amused me. Is kind of neat in the sense that while psionically focused, you basically get to choose which benefit you get, with fire kind of being the semi-default, because, adding 1 fire damage is akin to an entire prestige class feature, apparently.
Sure, that's balanced. That's the whole prestige class.
And water gives you a swim speed, which is not actually bad. As a matter of fact, almost disproportionately better than the rest of these.
Like, when you need it, it's good.
Yeah. Energy Mantle, which has a very mad power, but makes up for it by being Energy Mantle, because here's your damage spells. This is pretty much the go-to for the damage spells. It's a pretty good primary mantle for Ardent, quite frankly, because you're going to choose more than one off of this pretty quickly. As Ray is just a good damage spell, as is Bolt. Burst is very situational, because that's a point-blank AoE. But with a 40-foot range, so is very dependent on where the rest of the party is. Let's see, Fate Mantle. Noble, fairly decent. Yeah, once per day power, expend your Psionic Focus to add bonus to the D20 roll equal to level in the class that gave you this, so it's a fairly high bonus to a D20 roll. Most notably it has Fate of 1, which is the Psionic reroll, and the ability to augment it to reroll again. You can spend 3 additional power points to reroll a third time. You don't need to decide to augment the power until after you decide whether or not you need the third reroll. I just found amusing. Freedom Mantle, which is easily the best of any of these mantles, because you will take practically every single one of these powers. They are all fucking solid. And both the focus is a plus 10-foot bonus to your speed, and you can expend it to, let's see, add your manifestor level to roll to resist being grappled or to escape from a grapple. That's just good utility to have in your back pocket. Let's see. Yes, Justice Mantle with expend Psionic Focus as an immediate action to make attack of opportunity against someone who attacks one of your allies. Spell list was at least okay. It has True Scene, Psionic, Perfect Riposte isn't bad. The Knowledge Domain, which I believe was notable for having the most amount of powers. Yeah, this has 11 powers as opposed to the 10 on communication, but yeah. You also see that like the powers on these mantles are like, sometimes they're front-loaded with ones, but you don't get one per level. It is a very hodgepodge spread of basically whatever worked for the mantle. But yeah, Knowledge is a bunch of utility powers as well, and there's a decent chunk of them. Life Mantle is obviously good because, hey, do you want to heal psionically? If so, you take this mantle. If not, then... Okay, why'd you take Ardent? No, seriously, what the fuck are you doing in Ardent? This is like the major thing that it actually does, different than just being a Scion.
Come on, don't you want to scream mind healing every time you heal someone?
Exactly. Let's see. Pain and Suffering, which is notably the home of Empathic Transfer Hostile, which was nerfed in this book and is still absurd. Also, the immediate action of, spend your Psionic Focus, and the next time you take damage, the attacker takes that much damage as well, because fuck them. And Time Mantle, which just has good, just has good stuff. Also, just +2 initiative bonus, and okay, anything past the +2 initiative bonus is already that's half a feat on its own. Yes, can delay damage you take, etc., etc. Also gives you just access to things like Time Hop, which is a decent CC, and it has Supportory Strike, which is possibly the most broken power in the game, as of this book. Temporal Acceleration, Time Hop Mass. This, unfortunately, does not have a 9th level power. It's the only thing I can say about the Time Mantle. Also, this book, because it's kind of sort of the capstone on psionics. This is the entire Scion Wilder list. This is the entire Psychic Warrior list, both from the Expanded Psionic Handbook and Complete Psionic. They are integrated into one giant list for your convenience in this book, which is neat as hell. It should be noted any of the psionic powers that were printed in the books between are in this book as well. Sometimes they've been updated, sometimes or sometimes they're exactly the same, but they are in this book. Okay, on to actual powers proper. So, Anticipatory Strike, as I said, is possibly one of the most broken powers in the game, especially when you decide to add time nonsense to it. So, this is immediate action, and you just take your next turn. When the fuck ever. Including after you just took your turn. Now, the clause is, you can't, this is immediate action, you can't manifest it again until you take another turn, and you skip your next turn.
Okay. So basically, it just takes your next turn out of the initiative.
Yes. including if your next turn is in the next round. You can just take your next turn in the next round earlier.
Yeah.
You do have to deadeye your DM the entire time as you are moving your initiative tracker. As you reach over, erase the part on the battle mat where he's got the initiative written down, and then write your name down the next part.
I'm going to take my next turn early. I'm thinking I cast that power that rewinds everything a turn, and then my DM stabs me in the chest.
Yeah.
No, you can make your DM stab you in the chest for a completely different reason. You see, you at the first round of combat, you manifest this power at initiative 496. And you use that extra turn in order to manifest temporal acceleration, giving you extra turns. So you skip your first of the next round of extra turns. Then you have somehow figured out how to cast a blast fireball, because, okay, as amusing as this is, there isn't actually anything they can do during a temporal acceleration as a Scion.
Okay, hold on. I think my nose is bleeding.
But yes, this basically lets you say, fuck the initiative system, I'm going now. Let's see. Damp Power, which... only level 2 for that one. When you manifest this tower, your protection from vagaries. Oh, yes, this is actually one of my favorites. Yeah, so immediate action. The next time you are hit by a power or spell, it's minimized. If you're hit by a fireball that does 10d6 damage, you take 10.
That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. You can augment it for 4 in order to make it affected. Yeah. Everything in the area of a power is, or it minimizes all damage to an area power that you're in. Yeah, you don't even have to be targeted. This will affect a fireball that you're in, but normally only affects yourself. You spend the extra 4, also affects everyone else in the fireball. It is just a solid defensive power. Exaltation of the Bronze Dragon. 30-foot cone, will save or they're compelled to do nothing but move away from you. So it's AoE CC. Not even that high a level. You can spend extra power points in order to increase the DC. So Dimension Door Psionic, which already existed, but they changed it, or they basically gave it more augments than it had beforehand. So yeah, base power points of 7 to manifest. You could always manifest as a move action for an extra 6 power points, but now you can spend 2 less power points to manifest it as a full round action. This is the only power in the game, notably, that has like a negative augmentation. Or has an augmentation, has an augmentation that reduces its cost rather than increasing it. 2 of them, as a matter of fact. The other one is you can spend 2 less power points and it teleports yourself or touch will increase your up to 20 feet. So much shorter range, but cheaper cost. 2 additional power points, visually displayed. Yes. In order to dazzle things that remain there unless they pass a will save. You will never do this, but it's amusing to have. And yeah, you can also combine these. Obviously, you can't combine the one that makes it a full round action and the one that makes it a move action. Stop it. Yeah. Let's see. Mind over energy. Yeah. Manifest this power. Gain immunity to energy type of your choice. The 4 types they usually have. Notably, this is an immediate action. Still lasts a round per level, so it's just a solid defensive power. Empathic Transfer Hostile, which was nerfed. So, how this worked is if you could transfer damage you had taken. Usually, or beforehand, you could transfer up to 50 damage you were taken. If they passed, it would only do up to 25. So they have that number from 25 to 50. Furthermore, you could augment it for 10 per point. They reduced that to 5 because those numbers were fucking ridiculously high, especially for a level 3 power. What the hell is wrong with you? Especially for will for half, which means it's still basically going to transfer all the damage you took. Notably, it's still going to transfer all the damage you took, especially when you let's see, the other thing they changed. Okay, so this is 2 additional power points to affect additional target within 20 feet. That's not how it worked beforehand. It used to be two additional power points to affect all additional or all targets within 20 feet. You still have to, the initial target, by the way, has to normally be touch, and with this one, you still have to touch someone. But the additional targets are just within 20 feet. Yeah, with will saves until you've reduced the damage. Yeah, it was 6 to do all instead of 2 to do 1. That's the only part where I'm not entirely sure whether I'd actually consider that as much of a nerf, because now you don't have to worry about your own allies being in the AoE anymore, and it can be done earlier. It's also one of the few powers where you just don't give a fuck about them making a save. It's like, okay, you made the save, I'm still transferring all my damage, I don't care. Inconstant Location, which, yeah, this one we've seen before. It was the one where you cast it and then every round you have a swift action and teleport. I think the only difference here is this is an optional action. It's still at the beginning of your turn, but it's optional to actually do it. Yeah, you can. As a swift action, you can teleport. So move on. Yeah. Or at the very least, they clarify the wording to make it seem that way. Let's see. Synchronicity. Yes. Spend a power point. Ready a standard action. Or you have automatically a ready standard action, but you don't have to decide what it is. You do have to decide the triggering condition. Or if you augment it for 2, you ready a standard action and take it when the fuck ever you want. Interrupt whatever you want to do whatever you want. Planner Champion, which is also a placeholder in here because it is not the only one that's like this, but there are actual summon spells in here. They all work basically the same way. It's a full round to cast. You summon 1 creature. It is a specific thing for each of the spells. Planner, or 2 in this case. For Planner Champion, you're either summoning a Syllabic Guardian or a Cerebrith or Lith. Basically, Psionic. A Psionic Celestial or Fiend in this case. A very specific one. These are also on the good and evil. This is on the good, both the good and the evil mantle, with the clause of the good one has to do the Guardian and the evil one has to do the Fiend. Yeah, you augment to summon additional things. Also, yes, whenever your summon does not have the summoning ability, general stuff for summoning. Let's see. Planner Embrace. Again, one of the good and evil ones. Or no, wait, no, Planner Champion wasn't. It was Planner Embrace, where you get the point, though. There's powers like that on the good and evil mantle. But yeah, this is just a bunch of different bonuses for yourself, which weren't actually bad. It's basically literally the half Celestial or half Fiend template. Which notably comes with, in addition to a bunch of stat buffs, you receive spell-like abilities appropriate to your template. With hit dice equal to half your manifester level. I actually was curious and put all of the spells you could possibly get from becoming a Celestial or half Fiend. Because spells that you cast to get more spell or access to more spells tend to have at least some interest in me. Is how you start to break systems. Nothing amazing here, though, so I wouldn't really worry about it. Psychometry here. Let's see. Oh, yes, a clairsentient power that I actually like, or divination. Same thing. But is concentrate on the spot for up to a minute per level, and just learn what the fuck's happened here beforehand. So it's a neat investigative power that doesn't break the game, and the DM will probably say is fine, and it doesn't make you as much act like a DM plot device as divination usually does, and is more just an investigative tool, which is a good way of just gaining information in a campaign. It's a utility power, basically, but yeah. Psychoport of Shelter, which is the equivalent of, I don't know, fucking rope trick, tiny hut, etc.
Yeah.
It's like, I make a door, and then it can fit a bunch of people in here. The funny part is this isn't limited to once, so you can just keep casting this. It also doesn't have anything that keeps you from making this within other pocket dimensions, so you can just cast a Russian nesting doll of doors on itself. There's not a reason to do this, but it abuses me to do so. Also, you can augment it to hold more people for reasons. I do mean for reasons. I think the default was fucking, 7 creatures of large or smaller size. How big is your party? How many people are traveling with you?
Hiding a lot of people.
Yeah. Psychotic Break, which is an actual decent AoE CC spell, basically. Because 15-foot radius burst within medium. Affected subjects undergo Psychotic Break, again to attack the nearest... so everything that fails begins to attack the nearest creature, regardless of what the fuck it is. And will continue, and will prioritize, and will continue to just attack the nearest creature, prioritizing whatever attacked them last round. So you get 2 things to say. If 2 things fail their save, they're just going to punch each other until this duration is up. You can augment for more DC. It's just good CC in general for like dealing with mooks basically. Telekinetic Boomerang, which existed beforehand, but is basically just a better version of the returning property on a weapon that's just manifested as swift action, has a decent duration. You can full round basically with any weapon you can throw. And for 2 additional power points, you can do it on a second weapon in case you're dual wield throwing. I don't know whether or not you can manifest it on a Mind Arrow, however.
I mean, but you need to. I mean, you can. It's not a throwing weapon, actually.
Yeah, it's throwing weapon.
It's okay. You can already get returning on the entirely pointless. They built that into the class.
Yep.
I'm going to get returning and not Bane because I'm a dumbass.
Again, there's trap options, but sometimes you just walked up to me and put a bear trap right in front of me. You didn't even arm it. You just put it there. I would literally have to open this up to hurt myself.
I mean, fair, the bear trap was a snap decision.
Oh.
Suggestion implanted. This is a power that I just found amusing. This is a suggestion, except there's a delay on it. You could have it work whatever the fuck you want. Yeah, it just has a duration, so it's like you can cast it on, like, say, a guard that is just going to, or a guard at a tavern who is is about to take a shift at the castle, watching the gate, and just put a suggestion to like at midnight open the gate or something. For example, it's just a power that actually has like creative uses to it, more so than usual, which I find neat. Also, yeah, you can augment this to affect additional targets. Let's see, Urge Extermination, level 9 power here. Yeah, that guy is dead. There's no save on this. 90 hit... Doesn't work if they have 90 or more hit points. It's literally power word kill.
Yeah, it's power word kill.
Yeah. Augments to do additional hit points for 10 per point you spend. Which can be interesting if you can do decent augments and or for some reason have suffered Wilder for long enough to actually get a level 9 Scion Wilder power.
I was going to say, it's like the level you would have to be required to get that ability.
For Wilder, it'd be 18.
Yeah, you're not going to be encountering much of Worth that has 90 or fewer HP.
I mean, to be fair, that's the same issue of Power Word Kill.
Yeah, Power Word Kill
also a 9th level spell. with like a 100 hit point threshold.
But if you're Wilder and you're 18, you have Wild Surge plus 5. So that's let's see, and you're 18, so you can spend 1 extra power point, so that's 100 plus 5. So 150 or less, which will still not kill anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, still not kill anything of worth.
Let's see, Celestial Conduit. Here is straight up a line of energy from the positive plane, except this just straight up fucking does damage regardless of what the hell it is. It is normal level scaling damage. Asterisk. So undead also take 2 more per level. Also, for every power point you spend, it increases damage by 1d6 or 1d6 or 2 versus undead, and the powers to save DC increases by 1. Because they printed... Hey, you know that mistake they made previously had other abilities that weren't supposed to scale that way? Yeah, like Energy Stun here, which they fixed, by the way. Because this used to do the same thing of does an additional d6 per, or goes up by 1d, or DC goes up by 1 for every d6 instead of for every 2d6 like every other spell does. You know. Yeah, screw it, we'll throw it on this one. It's okay, they can reflex for halt. Let's see. Energy Barrage here, which is... yes. Standard shtick of a damaging effect of... Yeah, you create 3 explosions, deal 5d6. Yeah, subtype is the type of energy you manifest. It is weird for them not to list the stuff out. But yeah, the notable thing about this is 3 10-foot spreads that can overlap. And if they overlap, the thing has to save for all of them.
Yep.
Although there's a decent area to it. Is subpar damage? Yeah, it's subpar damage, so you do want to kind of overlap them, but it at least has a decent area spread. Energy missile slightly changed. Let's see, for every power point you spend, deals a d6, and for every 2 additional power points, increase DC by 1. Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yep. Okay, now on to stuff that's actually, like, mantle specific. So concussive detonation here from the Force one. Yeah, 20-foot radius burst around you. 66 force damage to all creatures and unintended objects. The unintended objects is the part that I actually considered amusing, because that's really trash a room. Reflex for half. Yeah, reflex for half. Augments normally, just as a cheaper cost. Freedom level 1 power, dimensional hop, which is just straight up good, is a swift action to teleport 10 feet, and you can augment for an additional 5 feet per point. But yeah, straight up, it can get you out of being engaged and still let you move and do everything else. And augments for a decent distance as well. Psionic Earthquake, which exists in the natural world for some reason.
Yep.
Let's see. Greater Glory, level 8 good power. This one was... Oh, yes. 1 good creature per level and 20 for burst.
Smite Evil.
Yep. Gives everyone Smite Evil. Blocks any attempt by a non-good creature to possess the warded creature. Blah, blah, blah. +2 insight bonuses to AC against AC and on saves against everything from evil creature, etc. Finally, evil creatures attacking sign benefiting from this must make a fortitude save or be nauseated for D4 rounds. So yeah, that just force a lot of saves, or they're just straight up going to lose actions. Let's see. Destruction level 9 intellect bomb, which is fucking hilarious.
I was reading that before you got to it.
Yeah. Right, so cause the target's brain to explode on a failed will save, and then everything around it takes damage.
Yeah, fucking scanners them.
Yep. D6 times the target's int score to all creatures, and cause them to be dazed for a round. Special save for half and not dazed, but still. Let's see. Protection from psionics, just +3 on saving throws against powers. Notably, with transparency rules, this also applies to spells. And this is an insight bonus, so it stacks with a decent amount of things. You can augment for more. It also has a large duration. It's a good save bonus. Light beam from light and darkness. Let's see. This is this is a line of 5d6 damage that you either choose light or shadow on. For light, dazzles opponents on failed save. Shadow, -1 damage, but can damage ethereal things. Oh yeah, sorry, light, shadow, or darkness. Darkness is +1 point of damage per, as long as they're in shadow, illumination, or darkness, etc. It is a placeholder. A lot of the light powers are basically like this, where you have like these 3 options depending. Augments for more damage, etc. Spirit of War, which is level 8 conflict and is just a legitimately really fucking good buff, even though it is like level 8 power granted. But yeah, 40-foot emanation centered on you. Everything in the emanation, including yourself, gets a +4 on attack and damage. Once during the duration, gets a +10 insight bonus on saving throw. And yeah, I guess you automatically confirm from Chris, because okay, seriously, you sold me on like the first one, but the second one, it's pretty good too. It's like just the first 2 effects are easily worth the cost. And finally, all the stuff from the healing mantle and basically how psionic healing works, which is not as good as magical healing, but good enough to do the job, basically. Touch of Healing is the basic bitch level 1 power, which starts at 2 points per and augments for 2 additional points per. From the Break is a nice immediate action reaction, which stabilizes something, or augments to actually do healing up to a maximum of 1 hit point. So someone who went down, you can actually, as an immediate action, just get them back on their feet. Well, back to actually being able to take actions at the very least.
Yeah.
Let's see. And Mend Wounds, which is they're nowhere near as good, but still fairly good heal. Which just starts at a base 55 and augments for 5 per. Which is, and an additional 4 will actually let you do as an AoE, which is the only... yeah, which is actually cute. Yeah, like, notably base healing is, or heal itself is 10 per level, up to 150, and also heals a holy crap ton of status conditions. dealing with status conditions is not really as much of a thing that psionics can do, but if you're looking to put blood back into people, Mendwood is still solid. It at 55 hit points is still a large amount at level 11.
Yeah, no, it's still good. And if you are level 15, can spend the extra 4 points, and you also get to heal everyone. So
it's actually a bit better than that because you could technically, if you have overchannel, do that. I think
a little bit earlier.
A little bit earlier. At the very least, 14. You might be. I believe it has 2 points at that point, so you might be able to do it at 13. Yeah. Oh yes, and the stuff that's for basically Psychic Warrior and Guardian, or Psychic Warrior and Lurk, which decided to throw in here. Let's see. Deaden Blow manifests its power. Transform a weapon into a non-lethal weapon. This includes ones that aren't your own, so you can actually do it on other people's weapons. You can also augment it to affect natural weapons for some reason. Extend range, swift action, just does exactly what it says on the tin. Can lead to some hilariously large ranges for range weapons, actually. Because you can augment this to increase it by another 100% per 4 points. Dimensional Pocket, which I believe was also on one of the new ones with Psychic Rogue, but Lurk has it as well. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's you make kind of a pseudo you grab an unintended object and throw it into a dimensional pocket, can augment to store more weight, etc. Let's see. Insight Bravery, which was actually kind of neat. You and allies within 20 feet are just straight up immune to fear. Way of dealing with fear effects. It's also notably a swift action, so you're not even wasting your turn to do it. And is a low level power. Yes, Mighty Spring. A level 1 Lurk and Psychic Warrior power that has a swift action gives you a +10 bonus to jump. For every 2 points, you can get an additional 5-point bonus to jump. Why am I talking about a jump check? Why indeed? Stay tuned later for why I'm talking about bonuses to jump.
We'll eventually get to a book where jump is very important.
Yes. And or I'll eventually go, okay, screw it, let me grab the epic level handbook and see what a high-ass level jump check can let you do. Let's see. Perfect Archery here, which swift action, you can just make range attacks without making attacks of opportunity for Psychic Warrior in case one of the few range ones. I believe we have seen this one before, but it was like one of the first ones that is like, oh, this is actually specifically for a range character in Psychic Warrior. Yeah. See Invisible Psionic. Notably, there's a different power for seeing invisibility normally in Psionics, hence why this is only a Lurk power. It's notable for its augment because for every 2 additional points you spend, you can include an additional willing target that you can touch. So that's actually nice. If you're in combat with invisible things, you can actually give see invisibility to other people, not just like yourself.
Yourself, yep.
Yeah. Let's see. And Perfect Riposte, which is just really fucking good, but it is a fairly high level power for Psychic Warrior. Once per round, as long as you have a weapon, you target your weapon basically. But yeah, once per round, you can make an attack opportunity against something that missed you. Yeah, well, as long as it's within range. 6 additional power points lets you manifest as a swift action. But yeah. Okay, and to Psionic magic items. Yeah, there are certainly new Psionic magic items in here. Not terribly many were all that. Like, okay, the side crowns and the side crowns, crystal mass, etc. Some of these are just basically like the equivalents of scrolls, or also here's new special magic items. None of them did anything terribly interesting. So, hence why there's a very short list over here. But yeah, some new psychoactive skins. Let's see. Celestial Embrace is also kind of a placeholder here. Yeah, so standard action to manifest. It literally gives you the Celestial template. There's also one for Celestial. There's one for Celestial, one for Fiendish, and one for Half Fiend. Which granted is for like in this case 15 rounds per day, but yeah. Considering the stat bonuses for half Celestial and half Fiend and Sharp Bad, it's the stat buff basically for once per day. Granted at the cost of an action. Skin of Power Dampening. Let's see. Ah, yes, can be activated for 3 times per day, but the effect is ridiculous. Yeah, the only issue on this one is being a standard action to activate. But yeah, you're protected from 1 round from all numeric. It minimizes all damage you take from powers and spells for a round, basically. Same as that other power. Granted, you have to. It is a standard action, so you have to see it coming. So there's a little bit of a clause there. But it should be noted that psychoactive skins, you can actually have multiple of them worn at the same time. So it's not even taking up a slot for the ability. This really depends more on how many spellcasters you're honestly running into in a campaign and how blasty they are. Let's see. Quiver of Energy, which is just straight good. So to activate this one, it is a quiver. To activate this one, your ammo just has to be in there for a round. So any ammo that's been in there for a round just straight up does a d6 extra points of energy damage every time. When they hit. So is an energy property for free. Notably, the energies you get to choose from are the 4 psionic ones, so Sonic is one of them.
Okay.
So yeah, this is
Very
just
nice.
like, yeah. So this is just like 15k to, I'm just going to do a d6 extra Sonic damage on all my range attacks. You may have to, at higher levels, buy 2 in order to have enough ammo to last an entire combat, because you make a lot of shots. Let's see. Sandals of Springing. Here's another plus 15 enhancement bonus to jump checks. Which I think is the highest bonus I've seen for a magic item. Let's see. Also, psionic locations as treasures. It's the same as magic locations as treasures. That was in Dungeon Master's Guide 2, I believe. Yeah. Was where they're from. But yeah, the basic idea of here's a location, it has some effects as long as you go there, etc., etc. Let's see. Constructs and creatures. Starting with Astral Construct. Again, kind of. It doesn't reprint the menu choices, but it does have these nice, much more readable, updated blocks that they started doing a few books ago, basically. So this is just a lot more readable table for the Astral Constructs. They also put, for some reason, the ectopic forms here, and by that I mean the modifiers for ectopic forms. They are still exactly the same as yeah. So it's basically like, what does this gain? It gains the special quality buff, and here's its speed. That's the only thing different. I think it has the exact same hit points. Let's see, 20 hit points as opposed to 50. Oh no, there's more hit points. Okay, I think that. Oh, that's right. That's what buff did. Okay, yeah. Ectoplasmic Swarm, because we have to get spiders in here somehow.
Hey, spooters. Well,
This is something you can summon with one of the psionic powers. Everything in here basically relates to a psionic power or something akin to it. Speaking of akin to it, Elemental Stewards. These don't relate to a psionic power. These relate to a replacement for your Crystal Affinity feat. In case you wanted to basically have like a small elemental thing instead of a Psi Crystal for some reason. Notably, it also actually scales with your manifestor level as well, so there's that at least. But
Turn your Psi Crystal into a weird elemental familiar.
Yep. Whether or not you will actually want to do this is a completely different question, but I guess you can. Did you at least have Earthglide? No. Wait. Maybe in movement, wouldn't it? Yeah, burrow speed. Yeah, it doesn't look like they have Earthglide. Let's see. The Sibylic Elemental, which that previous power could summon. And yeah, is notably a psychic. Guardian. Or Celestial, effectively. Archon. Okay. Alright, and the character options chapter. Pay no attention to the several chapters of character options we just went over.
Let's say, and what was everything else?
This book has been nothing but character options with the exception of the chapter going over the random things you can summon from character options. Yeah, they didn't know what to name this chapter. That's the best I can fucking figure out. But yeah, the first thing in this chapter, the new race, Cynids. So Cynids are of 3 minds, literally. with each one having with each individual Psionet having 3 independent minds, the Overmind, which is usually in charge, and the 2 parts of its submind, the Collective and the Oracle, which sometimes advise and occasionally take over. So Psionets look like tall, slim humans in normal light, but in dim light, if they have exhausted all of their power points, 2 ghostly heads will be visible, kind of like that. They are aberrations with dark vision, 3 bonus power points, +2 to will saves, the ability to spend a power point to gain +2 on knowledge or psycraft checks, and multitask. A once per day ability that lets you spend a power point to gain a swift action that can do something purely mental, which includes manifesting a power, but only if you do that. But you can only manifest a power if you don't use any of your other actions on that turn to also manifest a power. So it's fairly limited in that respect. This race is fine, and while there's probably something you can do that's worth it with multitask, it's only at most twice a day with the feat, so it's I don't think it's really anything that's going to break anything. And I'm probably wrong because people break stuff all the time, but that's a different matter entirely. And again, you're just going to do this once a day, so it's almost who cares on that respect. Let's see. Also in here, the 6 hidden houses, which is basically just a kind of background idea for various here's the psychic people that came from a different land, and they're their like bloodline traditions of etc etc. Also, here's a modified wild talent feat that I believe gives up a power point in order to give them like psionic ability of 1 minor power of some sort or another or once per day. Neat little flavor thing, but nothing terribly all that important. Also in here, the racial classes, which is a very weird way of kind of doing a hybrid between the monster classes and not doing that in a way. Yeah, basically doing monster classes for things that don't actually have like racial hit dice. So the Dwargar don't actually have a racial hit dice, they just have a +1 level adjustment. So it is basically like, okay, at first level you only have part of the powers that you would actually have, and then at second level you get the rest of the powers. Kind of splitting that up over time. And the rest of this table is just basically what you would normally get from leveling up. For the things with racial hit dice, it first goes through the racial hit dice, and then actually you start gaining class levels and other racial abilities as well to when the level adjustment comes into play. And it spreads it out over time to attempt to make it less painful that you're to make it so you aren't like, I have 2 hit dice at level 5 or something. Let's see. Also psionic guilds and going over them in general. Same idea as wizards guilds basically are akin to. Let's see. And Erudite, a variant of Scion. That is sort of the wizard to Scion sorcerer. So Erudites use the Scion Wilder list, but they don't get discipline powers. Basically, they don't choose a discipline. They start knowing 2 plus their imp bonus in level 1 powers, and they gain another 2 every level, but can only manifest a certain number of unique powers a day based on what level they are. For example, a level 1 Erudite, if they manifest Energy Ray, they are stuck being only able to manifest Energy Ray for the rest of the day. Though they can augment those powers however they wish, so if they're like level 5 and they manifest Energy Ray for 3d6 damage and then later do it for 5d6, that's still only 1 unique power. It doesn't matter what you do with it. They also gain Crystal Affinity for free in addition to the usual bonus feats that a Scion would normally get. And have one other little neat trick. They can learn powers from Power Stones, the psionic equivalents of scrolls, or from willing psionic creatures by making a psycraft check to understand the power, then meditating for 8 hours and spending a minor amount of experience, 20 per class level, which they can use to learn discipline powers up to 1 level below what they can normally manifest, in addition to everything on the Scion Wilder list. There are technically rules for learning powers for all psionic characters can do, but they're a lot more harsh on the cost and much more time consuming. Most of the time, at least, it takes 1 week and 200 experience per power level. So the big draw here is the greater size toolbox in comparison to the more standard Scion. But realistically, an Erudite will start with like 6 or 7 known powers and have a total of 46 or 47 from their class. at level 20 versus the Scion starting with 3 powers at level 1 and going up to 36 at level 20. So the number of known powers isn't as big a difference after a while if the erudite isn't learning new powers as often as they can from power stones and such, which is kind of the point of the class variant, honestly. The unique power restriction is sometimes harsh depending on how long your adventuring day is and how much your party is leaning on psionics to solve various problems. But overall, this is a good variant if you want to pick up a lot of niche powers to pull out when you need them rather than, like, Noah Discipline. Yeah. And let's see. Ah, yes. And finally, epic rules for all this stuff we just went over. But they didn't even give me a picture.
Epic rules.
Yep. And the back cover. Right, so this book is the capstone on Psionics in 3.5, as I don't think I've seen any more Psionic options past this book, and it seems to have all the powers that were in other supplements printed between this book and the Expanded Psionics Handbook, meaning that other than the prestige classes, everything that involves Psionics is in those 2 books, which is actually convenient. The new classes are quite welcome, even if Divine Mind is a bit of a mess, and there are some grokking issues with mantles. All 3 of the new classes explore or into somewhat new territory that wasn't covered in the first book. The real draw, however, is just the amount of feats and powers in this book, and that give you more options to build with and find synergies, which is basically 3.5 at its mechanical best. Yeah, that's kind of my initial thoughts on this, or my thoughts on this. Anyone else have something to say?
That does about sum it up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just another book of, we wanted to focus on this one aspect that we made, so we chucked a bunch of stuff in it. Some things are good, some things are bad, some things are ugly, some things give you +1 electricity damage, and we all laugh at it.
Yeah. I will say the ratio of bad to good is much more tilted towards good on that
Yes.
one. There's only 8 prestige classes in here, and I would say that's probably the bad one. And like the anarchic initiate also is kind of meh, but I could at least see it kind of, and the rest of them were like,
Yeah, like, I want to be a Wilder. Okay, here's a Wilder prestige class. It does
Yeah.
wild shit.
yeah.
That's fine.
But yeah, like the other 6 prestige classes were just plain solid. They gave you 2 soul knife prestige classes, which both at least looked halfway decent. Oh, okay, sorry. One looked halfway decent, and one was actually fucking good.
And one is
I
great.
was gonna say.
Yeah.
And one is, this is the reason you actually went to the Soul Knife, wasn't it?
Yes, this was the reason you went to Soul Knife. You're probably going off into the other prestige class because it's better than go back into Soul Knife.
Yep.
But yeah, this is. Oh, go ahead.
It is another big book of options, but skewing more towards decent and good stuff, as opposed to, here's a big book of options that no one gives a shit about or is bad.
Yeah. No, the ratio of stuff you'll actually find use for to complete garbage is much more skewed towards the former, thankfully. And this is actually when this is about when 3.5 starts, or the 3.5 designers start doing that more and more, where they just drop the idea of just giving out junk options, start to understand I would like to say start to understand how to design classes, but Divine Mind by itself proves that false. Although I can at least see that mistake. I can give them that one because they went way, that was at least them trying to do too much at the same time. Because the mantles went fucking insane. Way more than they needed to. Or the auras went insane way more than they needed to.
Yeah.
The mantles are fine once you like understand how they work, basically, but it's basically build your own spell list.
Yep.
But yeah. Yeah, beyond that, Hunter, Krabbis, any other final thoughts?
I mean, what I would have said has already been said.
Yeah.
Well, I would have said the same thing he did, but I'd also scream, "True knife! My knife!"
And then I would say the same thing they say, except by making man's head explode while I do it.
Yep.
Now you're getting it.
See, I wouldn't say it at all. I'd project it mentally.
Interspersed scene of Scanner's head explosion here.
Gonna
Yep.
keep that tabbed.
I'm gonna keep that tab open. Probably gonna need it soon.
Yep. All right. Yeah. I'll call this book to a close, and we'll move on to the next little thing for today.